Religious life according to St. Francis de Sales. Today, I invite you to reflect with me on a subject close to our hearts, religious life according to St. Francis de Sales. His spiritual wisdom offers not only guidance but a deeply human and Christ-centered path for anyone called to the consecrated life. St. Francis de Sales teaches us that religious life is not about perfection through rigid rules. It's about transformation through love. Love that is gentle, humble, and joyfully lived in the ordinary moments of life. This journey is about growing into the person God created us to be and doing so in communion with others. The first point for us today: religious formation, becoming who we are in God. Religious formation in the Salesian tradition is not about accumulating knowledge or acquiring skills alone. It's about becoming someone who reflects Christ's love, someone deeply connected with God, others, nature, and oneself. This formation has three essential dimensions. First of all, spiritual growth. Through prayer, sacraments, and reflection, we allow ourselves to be invaded by the Spirit, as St. Francis de Sales beautifully puts it. Secondly, community life. We grow together. Religious communities are called to be homes of communion, where each person is supported, challenged, and encouraged in love. Thirdly, mission and apostolate. Formation always includes preparing for service. For Salesians, mission means bringing God's love to the margins in simplicity and kindness. Second point for our reflection today is holiness for all, especially the religious. St. Francis de Sales was a man ahead of his time. He insisted that holiness isn't reserved for a chosen few. It's for all. Everyone is called to the perfection of charity, whether they are lay or religious. Religious life, however, is a special way to respond to that universal call. It's a radical yes to God, a public commitment to live like Christ, poor, chaste, and obedient. It is our way of saying, God, I am all yours. This life is not about status or privilege, but about belonging fully to Christ and to His church. The third point, the core values of Salesian religious life. The Salesian way of life is captured in one beautiful phrase, live Jesus. This is the heartbeat of all we do. Our goal is to let Jesus live in us, speak through us, and love through us. Let's briefly look at the core values that define this path. First of all, love as the center. Love of God and neighbor drives everything. Without love, St. Francis de Sales says, we are not fully human, much less truly Christian. Secondly, gentleness and humility. He famously struggled with a fiery temper, but chose to become the gentle saint. For him, gentleness wasn't weakness, it was strength under control. Thirdly, joy and optimism. Salesian spirituality is filled with hope. We trust in God's grace and see the best in people. Fourthly, living the present moment. God is found not just in the chapel, but in every conversation, every task, every interruption. Fifthly, simplicity and sincerity. No masks, no show, just authentic living, transparent, humble, and uncluttered. Sixth, patience. Especially in community life, patience is a daily gift we give to one another. Seventh, the little virtues. St. Francis de Sales didn't focus on grand gestures. He emphasized the small things, a smile, a kind word, a quiet act of service. These little virtues create holy lives and joyful communities. The fourth point for reflection today, evangelical counsels, freedom for love. The vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience are not burdens. They are path to freedom. Freedom from attachment, from selfishness, and from ego. Poverty, not just about possessions, but about depending on God as our true treasure. Chastity, a call to love universally, without possessiveness, with a heart open to God. Obedience, learning to listen not just to superiors, but to the will of God echoed in community life and prayer. St. Francis says so, these vows not as ends in themselves, but as means to love more deeply. And the greatest of these, he said, is charity. The fifth point for reflection today, facing the challenges of today. Let's be honest. Religious life today faces many challenges: secularism, individualism, the fast pace of the digital age, and the struggle for meaningful community. But these challenges are also opportunities for renewal. Here's how Salesian spirituality helps us respond. First of all, personal holiness. Begin again every day. Commit to prayer, silence, and sacraments. Secondly, vibrant community life. Make our communities places of joy, love, and support. Thirdly, simplicity. Live simply and be content. We are stewards, not owners. Fourthly, service to the marginalized. Always prioritize the poor in spirit, body, or circumstance. Vocation promotion. Be joyful witnesses who attract others to this life. Lifelong formation. Never stop growing. Seek spiritual direction, read and learn. Psycho-spiritual integration. Care for both soul and psyche. Healthy hearts foster holy lives. Use of media. Use digital platforms wisely to spread joy, truth, and the gospel. Daily examination and reconciliation. Purify your intentions and receive God's mercy regularly. Eucharistic adoration and Marian devotion. These are powerful sources of grace. Mary leads us gently to Jesus. The sixth point for our reflection today is the Salesian missionary today. The Salesian religious is not a silent recluse. He or she is a missionary of kindness, truth, and human connection. Mission today means, first of all, educating hearts and minds. In schools, homes, and parishes, we help form the whole person. Secondly, pastoral outreach. Make space for everyone, especially those on the fringes. Thirdly, advocating for justice. Defend the dignity of the poor and forgotten. Fourthly, being a digital witness. Online presence matters. Let it be filled with peace and light. Salesians continue our founder's dream, helping young people to be healthy, wise, and holy. They bring Christ not with thunder, but with tenderness. To conclude, religious life is about love. A love that grows, that matures, that transforms. It is a journey of becoming ever more like Christ, gentle, joyful, humble, and faithful. Let us then walk in the footsteps of St. Francis de Sales, embracing the Salesian charism with passion. Let's live Jesus with all our heart and help others do the same. May our lives reflect His tenderness in a world that needs healing. May we become beacons of His joy in communities that thirst for hope. And may we always remember, great holiness lies in great love, lived one small act at a time. live Jesus.